Okay, so there was a case, I don't know when this was. This, as I said, scumbag was beaten up on his wife. The police were aware. At some point, I don't know how they kind of got him they were detaining him. He was supposed to stand in front of a judge, but because it took them like 2 or 3 days to get him in front of a judge while he was being detained, his lawyer said, well, you broke his charter right to have a fair, everyone has the right to a fair trial within a reasonable time. The lawyer argued that this is an unreasonable amount of time to keep my client, and they let the guy go, knowing that he was, physically abusing his wife. Right? Now, that brings up an interesting problem. It's like, okay, well, he's committing a crime, he's in the wrong, but how long should the police be allowed to hold you, until you see a judge before you're getting off scot-free, right? Again, the issue with that is that what if they start deciding like, hey, we can't get you in front of a judge for a week. Well, you did commit the crime. We know you're in the wrong, but it's going to take us a while to get you in front of a judge. Should you just spend 7 days sitting in a cell waiting? What if that time gets extended? Well, it's taken us 2 weeks, 30 days. So now you're sitting in a prison cell for a certain amount of time until the judge is ready to see you or available. You also have equality rights, so every individual is equal before and under the law and has the right to equal protection and benefit of the law without discrimination based on any of the above: race, nationality, ethnic origin, color, wonder if they had that in their religion, sex, age, or mental or physical disability. Yes?
And then they're also trying to add political identity into there as well.
Interesting.
And then in I think it was 2012 or something, they added sexuality in there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sexual identity, I think it is. Yeah. How are you even supposed to know if someone's discriminating you against, let's say, your political ideas, right?
Well, because it was brought up by a conservative member because they've seen a lot of attacks on in college campuses and things like that. When a conservative goes to a college campus, they'll get a communist manifesto thrown at their head or that sort of thing. So yeah.
The issue on college campuses is very true that, oftentimes when a conservative or, let's say, potentially controversial speaker, as deemed by this mob of people, comes to speak on campus, what do? They try and shut it down. Oftentimes they will attempt to do that in rather aggressive or violent manners, or let's say rather intimidating, which is ironic given their beliefs, but
jumping up on tables, screaming.
Just another day under the sun if you look at the history. Language rights, you also have a variety of those. You have language education rights. So some notwithstanding clause. So in section 33 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, the federal and provincial governments have the power to create a law, even though it violates the rights and freedoms in the Charter. I would love it if it explained why that is. The notwithstanding clause is being used to override language rights, mobility rights, and voting rights. There's a 5-year limit on this clause since elections must be held every 5 years. This gives Canadians a chance to challenge laws passed under this clause before they can be renewed. Fun fact, during the pandemic, Trudeau kind of tried putting a motion, Trudeau's government, I should say, tried putting through a motion in the House of Commons to allow the Liberal Party full control of financial decisions for 5 years without having to ask the Parliament, without having to ask the people, as we would call it. Very sketchy. What's up? For good old time's sake, we should, hey?
And a bill that was passed through with this notwithstanding clause is that controversial bill in Quebec about the religious symbols. And they love to use this notwithstanding clause to pass through their francophone coded bills with, oh, people have to, oh my god, I can't speak today.
Look.
Have to speak French
Yeah.
everywhere, and they can't be speaking English in certain areas, and the Saskatchewan government just used this clause for the gender identity bill that they passed with the schools. They passed a bill about that. If
What, do you know anything about that?
if a student identifies with a different gender or identifies with a different set of pronouns or a name, they have the school has to give the parent a notification that their kid has identified with that identity, and it can be very dangerous sometimes when that happens. So it's kind of very controversial. So
Might be a weird power school notification again.
Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know about that. He said that would be a very weird power school notification. That happened. Yeah.
your
Um,
kid was
It's a she.
It's weird that the power school
If
gives you like a
you use that,
happy
it-
birthday.
yes. A
Really?
paper
I've never
clip
gotten
slash.
a notification from that. Do you have the app? And it's funny, that's what I
Yeah.
my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Excuse me, for classes.
What was
So I
that?
said,
That should be like,
like,
oh, good day.
Yeah, because for every class it tells